Getting fresh updates on the situation in Libya tonight in the wake of the disastrous floods is breaking news. The death toll is rising and is now believed to be anywhere from 6,000 to 11,000 people. But because of the tremendous amount of destruction, it's impossible for them to even begin to guess how many people have died. They are now feverishly searching for the more than 10,000 people who are still missing. Now that most of them are thought to be dead, the city is now experiencing a serious scarcity of both water and gasoline. There is just one hospital that is even open for business. Even the number of physicians is insufficient. According to Libyan authorities speaking to CNN, dead bodies are still washing up on Derna's coasts. Straight to Jamana Karachi is where I want to go. She is in the flood area of Libya's Derna, and of course, the only American TV network there tomorrow will be you there, seeing this for yourself. What are you going to see tonight? You know, Aaron, I'm trying to travel here too. Eastern Libya was so tough for us. The majority of the international community does not recognize the government and power in this region of the nation. Consequently, it is quite challenging to enter the nation. We traveled here for many days. Because there are so many roads and bridges, it took us more than 7 hours to get from Benghazi to Derna Drive, which would typically take around 3 hours. The flooding affected and destroyed infrastructure in and around Derna. You can also imagine the effect this is having on the city's badly needed assistance delivery. And for the first several days following by accident, the rest of the world and I really relied on the official pronouncements that were emerging as well as the brief social media videos that were slowly leaving this country. But when you arrive and see, it is stunning and tragic. This is an absolutely devastating sight. There are post-apocalyptic sites wherever you look. It looks like a battleground. That storm had an effect on several towns along the Libyan coast. However, what occurred in Derna was very different. The 2 dams that burst unleashed all that water and caused the floods that swept through the city and destroyed nearly everything in their path, washing out entire neighborhoods, entire buildings, infrastructure, and families who ended up in the sea were, of course, the cause of the catastrophe as it is described here. And you talk to those who were there, survivors who remember the terrifying night they lived through with all the damage, all the human loss, the thousands of lives lost, and the more than 10,000 people who are now missing. They claim that everything took place in a period of around 90 minutes. We've spoken to several survivors who described how they had to scramble to save their lives and how their kids scrambled to grab anything they could, and their kids fleeing and attempting to escape the rising waves that just kept rising. 3 stories tall. According to what we've heard, the waves reached a height of roughly 22 feet, and those who survived and are still frightened. You are now speaking to individuals who are hardly able to fathom what has occurred to them and to their city. People are shocked, and Libyans claim to have witnessed it. Nothing had prepared them for this, despite the fact that they had coped with battle, death, and loss in the past. And based on what we have observed, they now lack the tools necessary to handle a catastrophe of this magnitude. There are some international search and rescue teams that have arrived, but they claim that this is far from adequate. More is necessary. We have seen a tremendous number of volunteers in this deeply divided nation, where East and West have been at war for more than 10 years. People from all over the nation have flocked to the East in an effort to support the locals and assist volunteers in search and rescue efforts to recover the corpses of the deceased. One of the women we talked to earlier said that this tragedy has brought the Libyan people together, and it seems that it has, at least for the time being. And as we go about our business, Aaron, you keep running across folks who only have awful tales to tell. People are basically staggering about, traumatized, and picking up the bits of what's left of their lives, one after the other. You know, we spoke to a lot of people who shared their experiences with us. We came across a father who was carrying his children while wearing bandages on his leg and arm, and he was really grateful that he and his kids are still alive and unharmed. He continues by telling us that his father perished in the same home. And there are more such stories. The suffering endured by the residents of this city is just inconceivable. And the whole amount of human loss in this situation is yet unknown to us. How many individuals have really died? No one really does. And it might be days, weeks, or months before we find out. If you love the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.